Hello and welcome to Bawo, Black and Woman, where real conversations meet our culture, our stories, our future. I'm your host, Grace Ronke Adegoke, and today's episode is a little bit different. It's very special. As a mom, I think about how food, health, and habits are shaping our young people within our ethnic minority, the black community. But instead of talking at them, I wanted to talk with one of them. So I brought on this very special person very close to my heart, my son. So, welcome Victor onto the podcast today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. He's into fitness, healthy living, and navigating it all through the lens of being young, being black, and African in today's world. So, pull up your chair, everyone. Okay, and let's unpack the food we grew up on, the lifestyle we've embraced, and what it really means to stay rooted and well. So, Victor, welcome to today's podcast, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so can you tell us briefly about yourself, and so the audience get to know you?
I'm Victor Kintola, and uh, occupationally I'm a biomedical scientist, and yeah, and I'm in my late 20s, and yeah,
It is.
yeah.
You don't look a day old, so okay. So, when I'm thinking about this particular topic,
Yeah.
you are one of those on the top three lists.
Okay.
And I'm so happy because we already know each other, what we're doing with our lifestyle, our food and fitness and stuff. So I think you are a great fit for this topic. And as a mom, I've seen how food, body image, lifestyle are shaping young people
Yeah.
of today. And unfortunately, I worry. So I'm sure many mothers also worry like that. So let's talk about this. Let's begin to have these conversations. These are the sort of conversations that many families are not talking about, but we all need to talk about it. So let's take a deep dive into the topic of today. We're going to explore traditional African meals. Are they nourishing? What's misunderstood? And do you have any food nostalgia that plays into healthy goals? Do we have funny frustrations and generational differences around eating habit? How do we bridge the concern with understanding? And as a woman that nurtures, that cooks in the family, this topic takes a special place in my heart. So, first question to you, okay? What are some of your favorite childhood meals? As a Nigerian, you are Nigerian, of course, African to the core. How do you see them in terms of health? Your favorite childhood meals?
Well,
Nostalgic.
nostalgic. Right now I'm reminiscing, but in terms of health, in I would say favorite it has to be the popular the Indomie.
Oh God, okay, Indomie.
Yeah, and
Indomie.
yeah, which was growing up, which was a very popular meal for kids. Kids can, if they have their way, they can have it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But the parents will not allow it because, yeah. But growing later, becoming an adult in terms of health, we know that because of what it's made of and everything, it's not good for your body, especially with this seasoning, high sodium levels, and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, I think I can't even remember the last time I had. It's been, I would say, 4 or 5 years now since I had. Yeah, but yeah, in terms of health, favorite childhood number on the top of the list would be Indomie, but in the bad sense when it comes to healthy living.
Okay. So they're not good for your health,
No good for
basically.
basically.
Because when you look at Indomie, Indomie noodles are the typical Nigeria will call it Indomie. And when I say Instagram, Facebook, social media posts nowadays, the way Nigeria people will jazz up Indomie is mind blowing. I mean, I'd rather they eat all of those other things. Some people put vegetables, eggs, and things into their Indomie. I'd rather you eat that, and leave the Indomie out of it. Because when you look at the processing to the point that you have the Indomie in front of you, this is a typical example of highly processed food, which we're all advised to move away from. And more importantly, the chemicals, the additives, and all manner of things that Indomie and the likes they have nowadays. So we already established that. So any particular food that you've replaced, with that, okay, you've taken Indomie out, what do you now eat instead?
I feel right now, like I would say, like a good alternative to Indomie would be pasta, but pasta, but making it healthy, making it fun with broccoli, your vegetables, your fibers, and with the ultra processed seasoning and all that type of stuff.
So if you want to bring it back to cultural food, do you have any traditional African food or Nigerian food that actually you feel like, actually I love that and I want to eat? Because I know when you come home, you're like, oh, I can't wait, for you and Dad to cook. And so what is that food that is Nigerian dish or African dish that you really...
I think the top two will be, from me being Yoruba, would have to be amala with the ewedu, begiri.
Abula.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Nearly everyone know abula now. Even Nigerian kids who are, not typical Nigerian, they know abula now, because when you go to parties, Owambe and all of that, abula is made a comeback. So you love that. Any particular reason, and what do you think in terms of health when you eat those?
I would say number one, I think why I like amala, it's light.
It's light.
It's not very heavy.
Light. Yes.
And with the ewedu, begiri, I mean, definitely their leaves and all, they should be rich in.
Plants.
I don't really know their
nutritional values,
but definitely they should have rich nutritional values in them.
So I think in another episode we will cover all of those nutritional values, what you get from this or that. But the bottom line is, when you look at the processing of amala and then ewedu and begiri, you can basically taste the freshness and recognize what they are made from. I can go into my veggie patch, and pick ewedu, bring it in, cook it straight away. So the bottom line is, African food, they are as fresh as they come. They are nature's food. Nature gives you that food. They're not really man-made as such. They are made in your kitchen, not in the factory. So, and I think just to clear the misconception that African food are bad for you, they really aren't bad. So they're not bad. Let's remove the really. There is another episode I'm going to do to cover the how the Western researcher actually rated African food back in the 50s. So, and that's an episode I would love for a lot of people to zoom in. And I want to bring something else out of this Indomie pasta thing. I don't eat them at all, because the bottom line is that actually my body rejects pasta. gluten intolerance, basically, because a lot of pasta, indomie are made with wheat flour, and if you are intolerant to wheat or gluten, you might find that you cannot digest it. And of course, it's ultra processed. Maybe my body doesn't like that anyway, it's been ultra processed. And I was very, very sick. Some years ago, I had pasta, and that was it. So, and something really that I want to bring out of that is, in your generation, a lot of people are eating a lot of carbs, all these foreign ultra processed carbohydrates, as opposed to you pick your sweet potato or your yam, you peel it right there. I mean, I could go in the garden and pick the sweet potato, bring it to the table, peel it, cook it, eat it. It's as simple as that. You know the ingredients in your food, it's fresh, nature gives it to you, you cook it, you eat it. Within half an hour, you've harvested, you've cooked, you've eaten. Shike, no? So what we've seen in clinical practice is very high incidence of irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and mainly down to the food that we eat. Your pasta, there is no nutritional value at all in all of this. You basically have macronutrients. You have carbs in form of which your body recognizes as sugar. So when we feed our gut with food like this, it's going to affect the gut. And unfortunately, again, when your gut is affected adversely, a lot of other chronic illness begin to show forth. And one of them is the
inflammatory process.
The IBS, and also the colon cancer, colorectal cancer, which is common, in our race, unfortunately. So, one last question for you. What does a healthy lifestyle mean to you personally?
Personally, healthy lifestyle. The word that comes to mind at first is intentionality. So knowing that at the end of the day, you're gonna reap what you sow. So if you feed your body junk, I mean, at the tunnel, you see things like diabetes is waiting for you. Not wishing anything bad, but it's just facts. If there's so much your body can take, there's so much insulin your body can produce. So I think healthy lifestyle just means to me just intentionality, knowing that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and definitely what you do to your body in your 20s and your 30s are going to show when you enter your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, your 80s.
What about your 40s? Okay. So how do you apply healthy lifestyle into your own day-to-day? Say what you eat, your exercise regime. What do you do, really? So that other people might hear what you do and maybe they can copy what you do or resonate. Give us some ideas.
So for me, I will try to be practical and to say what I do. So just listening from your doctors and nutritionists, which, I mean, they won't lie to you, is fact. So just like for me, I take my coffee every morning. Caffeine is good for the body. My lunch, I pack at least chicken, protein with fruits, which are rich in fiber and other nutrients, and I don't anytime I have my dinner, also rich in fiber, my vegetables, my fruits, my chicken, and just a little bit of carb just to reduce my carb level intake, and just try and go to the gym at least 3-4 times a week. It's not easy, but I mean, you just have to be intentional about your health. I'm doing it.
So as they say, wherever there is will, there is a way. And I also do exactly the same thing. Mine is on the extreme end.
Yeah.
Basically. But as a postmenopausal woman, a black woman, already we have a lot of things in our DNA that predisposes us to all of this.
Yeah.
But as they say, your DNA is not a death sentence. You see, if let's bring the analogy of a gun. I don't like that analogy, but it's a really good one. The gun is there. Something has to pull the trigger for the gun to fire. So your DNA is there. It loads the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. And like you said before, it doesn't matter what DNA we carry as black people, but our lifestyle is actually what is going to either make or mar our health, positive or negative. Many people are carrying diabetes around for average of 8 to 10 years and they don't know. And by the time they get to diagnosis, another 10 years, bang, complication sets in. And it's a progressive disease, but all of these diseases are easily reversible. The one that really gets me is the high incidence of early onset of colorectal cancer. Apart from people eating lots of carbs, not enough vegetables or nature food and things like that, the lack of exercise is also a major deal. So, and when we get to the exercise part, do you do any exercise at home at all apart from the gym?
Yeah, I have some sets of dumbbells. So I think I do for I can only speak for myself. For guys, I think lifting weights and trying to build muscle, it's I think it's important for the longevity of the man biology and physiology. So yeah, I try to lift weight as much as I can, but personally I'm biased to running. I like cardiovascular activities more, but the research shows that men also need to build up as much muscle as they can, which is important for their physiology in the long run. So I also try to build as much muscle as I can.
Yeah, there are so many things that we could do in the house without stepping out the gym. I've done a lot of videos. Even today, I have my tennis racket. We were going to go and play tennis today, but we didn't get around to it. But we spent how many hours in the garden? About 2 hours or more. Pushing and carrying weight and shoveling this and that, soil and bags of rubbish. So that's part of your strength training. But a lot of young professionals might not have access to gardening and stuff like that. But if you do, well, do it. But then you can easily do simple exercises with resistance band, a kettlebell, in your flat. By the time you spend 50 quid in some with the right of these things, you got it. You sit in front of the telly. When I sit in front of the telly, I've got weights there that I lift. Even when I'm sitting down, I've got stretch band across my thighs and I'm moving, And you've also got music, press play and dance. So many simple acts. And there's lots of things that you can just press on YouTube or on social media and just follow the instruction, and do it that way. Because not everyone might be able to afford the gym, So simple home workouts. And the best time to do your workout is after you've eaten. So you can mobilize that calorie into your muscles that you're using at the time, So rather than your body storing this in form of carbs, you're using it. So as we know, any excess that you're eating but not using gets stored as fat. And that's why obesity is also increasing. And obesity, is a major factor in all of these diseases that you've mentioned. So last but not the least, shopping tips for students and young professionals. So if I have a look on your shopping bill, what is it that I'm not going to find in your shopping? Or if you have any tips for students?
Just yeah, just try to avoid sugary items,
Such as
chocolate, candy, um,
pops,
yeah,
biscuits,
yeah, carbonated
cakes.
water,
Yeah.
the Coca-Cola, the Fanta, and all of those type
Yeah.
of stuff. Just look for the healthy alternative, which is water.
Yeah, yeah.
just,
And it's
just,
probably free,
yeah,
but it's cheap.
yeah, just,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
healthy
just,
and cheap alternatives. Yeah.
yeah.
I totally agree with you. And if you want something other than water, you got all manner of herbs to
Yeah.
infuse into a water and make a tea.
Yeah,
You got pineapple, you can blend it up, add water, drink it, because you're getting nutrients from those pure natural, though you have to still have them in moderation. There is a quantity, there is portion control, portion sizes for everything, both food and drink, especially even natural fruits, so you are not consuming them in excess. But my number one thing that I really want to advise people is buy as much vegetable as possible. Sometimes you might go into the shops or grocery and you find out that that vegetable is on offer. Just buy the one you eat, so you know you're going to eat it. But rather than storing it in your vegetable basket, put them straight in your freezer, so you're not wasting anything. I freeze my vegetable. If I'm not growing it, I'm buying organic. And that's another thing. You started buying organic now, and why is that? Maybe somebody else might want to do the same. Why are you changing your mind about organics, organic produce?
Well, the fact shows that at the end of the day, the way the farmers use chemical pesticides to fasten the production rate. Fertilizers.
Yes.
We consume the end product, and thereby these can be xenobiotics to our bodies, and thereby affect our bodies in different ways, and can catalyze some genetic abnormalities or malfunctions. So
I mean, you nail it on the head. The bottom line is the saying, you are what you eat. It's not just that anymore. It's you are what you eat. If your vegetable has consumed a lot of pesticide, you are invariably consuming pesticide. And these pesticides, they're neurotoxic. Is it any wonder that there is so many new generation diseases, things that never existed before our time? So we have to be intentional, like you said at the beginning, intentional, and you know that what goes round comes round. Whatever, if you put garbage in, you get garbage, out. So I want to challenge everyone listening. We have to be realistic about a healthy lifestyle. It's about your food and your fitness, your exercise. You eat, you use the calorie. If you don't need that calorie, why eat it? At the end of the day, there's intermittent fasting, which is also cheap. Actually, to use up the reserve calorie in your system. Not everyone believes in that, but we do. So, and I feel the benefits of intermittent fasting. There's so much to say about that. So your lifestyle isn't about perfection, it's about intention. So intentionality again. And for me, as a black woman of certain age, all of these things we're talking about is now even more important, because of what I face as a woman of certain age, postmenopausal. But if you start in your 20s, you build your muscles, your strength. As we have now realized, it's better to be strong than skinny. Strong over skinny. So at the end of the day, you could be super thin, but no substance, but you're fat inside. You could be leggy, but no substance, basically. So each and every one of us, we have to be intentional about how we look after ourselves, because the future is waiting for us. The future is waiting. So to every young person listening, you don't have to give up the food of your culture. You don't have to give up your roots to be healthy. You just have to make your African food in a healthy way. So we're going to have some other sessions or series to show you how you can make African food healthy. They're already healthy. It's the things that we are adding to them that might make them unhealthy for us. So be intentional. And also to every parent like me, we need to start talking with our kids about healthy food, though not talking at them. And of course, we live by example. Do as I do, not as I say. So we come to the end of today's podcast, and I want to say thank you, Victor, for agreeing to do this and for coming on board. And this is the first of many. If you want to know what you can do about your egusi, about all of your African food, the calories in your plantain when you fry them, and things like that in your swallow, and also being healthy doesn't mean being less African. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mama.
And God bless you.
God bless you.
So tune in. You find us Bawo on podcasts, on the Google Podcasts, your Apple, your YouTube, and your Spotify. Thank you yet again.
Bye.
Enjoy your day.
Enjoy.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. There we go.